I had a wonderful question from a viewer. This is a couple of weeks ago, and I just am now thinking it. I answered it like last week, the week before. Anyway, the question to ponder was this. It's from one of the viewers. It was concerning the white robes in Revelation 6, fifth seal, and seven multiple people before the throne whose robes were washed white with the blood of the Lamb. This is why you know the Bible's symbolic, because that doesn't make any sense, right? White in the blood is usually red, deep red, and stains things, right? So obviously, Revelation is a very symbolic book. Anyway, continue reading. Yet in chapter 6, the martyrs were all given the white robes after their earthly death, considering that every knee will bow, etc., and knowing atheists, agnostics, and other belief systems die, is there another chance to receive salvation after the body dies? So in today's video, we're going to be talking about salvation after the body dies, salvation for sinners, salvation for Satan, believe it or not, and salvation for anyone who's a bad person. Now, just like you, I don't want to see certain people in heaven, right? I just don't. Certain people I would love to see burn in hell, but it's not up to me. It's up to God and them and Jesus. So, my response was as follows. This was a great question, by the way. So the question generally is that, is there another chance to receive salvation after the body dies? It's an awesome question. I think this speaks to the total redemption, even that of Satan himself, that was once believed by the church. This was called apokatastasis. All right. I tend to agree with the theological idea, but many scholars, pastors, and organizational representatives of the church think that God is too weak for that. A lot of people think God is too weak and stupid to be able to salvation or salvage souls that have sinned against his divine law. All right. So to answer the question, it seems clear that salvation was completed with Jesus. It also seems clear to me that God makes it available to all souls, all conscious soul beings. Welcome, SB. Hello. Thank you for joining. SB. Thank you. We're talking about how Satan's going to get into heaven and how you can too, even if you sin every single day all the time. Now, again, I'm not advocating it, but I'm just going to describe what is said in the Bible. Like, I'm not a representative of the church. I'm a representative of Christianity and an emissary of the divine throne, just like all the chosen are, all of us. And so anyway, when the game of life is over, even the blind will see, and that includes atheists and agnostics. Those are people that are blind, philosophically, spiritually. But they won't confess to a sky phantom peddled by a church. They will see the real God, the Lord of creation, the true source from which all come. Everybody will. Salvation is really more about your good life here and now in the world, not so much about the hereafter. Christ already took care of that. Thanks for the question. I got to dig up apokatastasis. Apokatastasis. And my old buddy Saint Clement and Origin of Alexandria. So Saint Clement and Saint Origin of Alexandria both were those who said they believed in apokatastasis. I got to say it like I'm Italian or something. Apokatastasis. But apokatastasis apokatastasis is the idea that there's a total redemption at the end of time. Christ's sacrifice redeemed all beings unto the Father. And so that means after all the humans have been dealt with at the end of time, all of their sins have been washed and they've learned their lessons and all that good stuff, then the angels will be processed. And then finally Satan will be processed and everybody will be redeemed. And this to me makes actually more sense. A God that is totally loving is not like a stupid little big-hearted dummy, a bleeding heart. And that's not what this is describing. This is describing a God that wastes nothing. Now, he's not a cheapskate. Like, let me save these little pieces of lint. I might need them later. No, that's what humanity is. Basically, a piece of lint to the divine kingdom, which is made of gold and splendor. So humans aren't really much, but God, I think, is one of perfect harmony and perfect holistic completeness. And so imagine if you could renew every single cell in your body. You're dropping off millions and billions of cells every single day. They're all dying and being replaced and replenished. I believe that the divine spark, which is God, the source of all things, does ultimately redeem everything. And I think that is what the link, Christ the intercessor, Christ the interface, Christ the link. I mean, look at all these movies and stories. Neo, the One, Link, in One Piece. My son's a big fan of that, so he tells me about Link and all that. But you think about these things. Christ is the link. By definition, the word Christ or Jesus means the anointed one. Emmanuel, excuse me, is the link, the interface between humanity and the divine. So it is very clear to me that everyone is going to heaven, period. At the end of it all, Satan is finally going to get redeemed. God's going to finally say, hey, the Most High, the real God, is going to finally say, okay, you messed up Earth, you messed up a lot. You get it, right? You know you fucked all that up, right? Right? You get that. And Satan's like, yeah, I totally, I get it now. I really friggin' get it now. Okay. Because I don't cuss because I'm Satan, because I'm all about how my works are perceived by God. God just doesn't care. The eternal doesn't care. And so that is what a lot of Christians believed up until about 553, when the church said, hey man, we've lost 5 centuries worth of money. We got to stop this shit. And then they decided to stop it. I mean, that's my version of it. I could be full of shit. So don't take my word for it. Do your own research. But the term is apokatastasis, and you will see it linked in the description to this video. Apokatastasis. All right. So the question is, do atheists get another chance after death? Revelation and the white robes explain. So you ever wonder if atheists and agnostics and devil worshippers get a second chance, a shot at salvation after death? The book of Revelation might surprise you. There are all these white robes and martyrs and all that great stuff. It's all symbolism. Try not to read too deep into it unless you understand, apocryphal exegesis. Then you can read Revelation. But the very few of you are the scholars of that type. So I would just leave it. It's a fun book to read with all the dragons and the women and the bears and all. It's cool. It's scary. It's great if you're tripping on some mind-altering substances. But I would say just stick to the other parts of the Bible. Anyway, so Revelation 6 and 7, we have 2 powerful scenes. They're martyrs that be given white robes after death. There's a great multitude that appears before the throne. I think the 144,000 show up a little bit. The robes are washed white in the blood of the Lamb. So if you guys ever read the Bible and think's literal, and you read something that says it was washed white with blood, then you got to get a mirror and say, I've been telling myself that I'm stupid for far too long. You need to put the mirror down and say, I have a good functioning brain. This is symbolism. There's not going to be like the sky's going to open and then the sky phantom's going to become a physical man, and then he's going to take a lamb, he's going to slit his throat by the name, lamb's going to have Jesus tattooed on his forehead. He's going to slit his throat, he's going to drain all his blood out and take a bunch of people's clothing. He's going to have to slaughter like 1 trillion lambs, by the way. But anyway, he's going to take the blood and he's going to take red blood and put on. Well, God can do anything. Yes, God can do anything, guys, within reason and outside of reason. I know. I'm kind of contradicting myself here, but I'm just saying Revelation is clearly an allegorical text, okay? It's metaphorical, allegorical, apocryphal. It's not meant to be taken seriously. And too many Christians are going, Jesus is going to come one day. We're living in the end times. How many times have they been saying that? They've been saying we're living in the end times since Revelation was written in what, 60 AD? They've been saying we're living in the end times since they all met Jesus up in the room. Jesus did say that, but he was talking about himself because they want to kill him. So anyway, let's start with something deep, okay? And say hello. Psalms 14 calls atheists a fool, people. Okay, SB. Thank you. They are fools. I agree with you. They are fools. They are totally fools. I'm down with you on that. Atheists are fools. But there are too many people in the church call themselves Christians. They're actually atheists and Satanists of the highest caliber. And Anton LaVey, when he created the Church of Satan, he created it for Christians. Created for people that were in the church that were lying to everybody. And he was like, there are lots of Christian Satanists. And he described them. If you go to church today, you realize that they won. The entire church is satanic now. Nobody believes in Christ anymore. For real, for real. All right, anyway. So let's start with something deep. Early Christians like St. Clement, Origen, many, many others. They're great for church fathers. I think even St. Augustine kind of alluded to some of this stuff. believed in the concept called apokatastasis. It was a total redemption of all souls, even Satan himself, the archenemy of souls. The early church believed in total redemption, and this again was up until about 553 AD. Okay, Clement and Origen and others believed that. Now, the concept didn't work for a 6th century church who could build a financial system based on indulgences and penance. Indulgences, like you go to church, penance, the same thing. The whole concept is you go to church, you say, I've been sinning. How much can I pay you guys? Like, talk to God and like, get me in. And that's basically what people were doing, as if God can be bought with pieces of gold and silver. That's what Jesus was so pissed off about when he beat the crap out of those money changers in the temple. Like he literally beat the shit out of them, right? And people don't want to admit that, but it's right there. He drew a whip full of cords. You think he went in there just swung it around his head? Was he a little gay dancing boy? No, he beat the bejesus out of people, and it is what it is. Nobody wants to admit that, but that's what happened. All right, so the idea of apokatastasis got buried, and most modern churches and leaders rejected as heresy or heterodoxy. So when apokatastasis, the idea that God was going to redeem everybody, originally came out, it was heterodoxy, because orthodoxy is what everybody's believe. Orthodox just means straight, the straight path. Ortho means straight, doxy means dictation or spoken, that which is spoken. And so the church was speaking straightly, and that's what a lot of us believe today is what is orthodox. Okay, that's an adjective, not a noun. Now it's a noun because there's an Orthodox church, which is a noun, but the word Orthodox and Catholic are both adjectives and nouns. So keep that in mind. So the idea that God was going to redeem everybody at the end of time is something that the church understood because they knew God was all powerful. They were living in a time where, you had to know that. This was like not too long after Christians were being fed to lions and burned at the stake. So these are people that had a real experience of God. And they were like, hey, look, you can set me on fire. And these people sang and praised God as they were burning to death. Think about that. These people had real control of their bodies and minds. So these were gangsters of the highest degree. Okay. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes, but think about it. All right. If you can do that, you're legit. All right. But you don't have to. Anyway, so today's leaders have just followed everybody after the Fifth Ecumenical Council of 533 AD. After that, the apokatastasis, or the theological doctrine of apokatastasis, was rejected as heterodoxy and heresy. Okay? It was not a weak idea. It was just a version of God that was too strong for their theology. Salvation was too scandalous if it included everyone. So the church was like, we're not going to make any money if we can scare people into hell. And then they told Dante to write up a bunch of Greek-inspired visions of hell that aren't real, that everybody believes in that. There are people now that die and go to hell. They're atheists now. I died and I went to hell. Now I believe in Jesus because I went to hell and got grape juiced by a bunch of demons. You can't say certain words on YouTube, so I got to use stupid child words. So they got grape juiced by a bunch of demons in hell. And then they came back after surgery or getting shot or dying because they had diarrhea or something. And then they come back and they say, oh, well, hell is real, so heaven must be real. I don't want to experience hell again, so I believe in Jesus. Okay? Well, sounds like you had a psychiatric issue, bro. Also sounds like you had a near-death experience, which, you can have if you take certain drugs, and then you'll have the same experience. And so what is it? Is it that perhaps the brain is processing and perpetuating thoughts that exist within the zeitgeist, and you're just regurgitating that and then feeding that to yourself? Maybe as a child you grew up in an atheist family. I grew up in an atheist family, and my family didn't believe in Jesus. So how could I believe in hell? Well, don't you live in an English-speaking culture? God bless you. But Jesus, like there's so many words that we use that are laced with religious jargon. So there's a lot of subconscious, neurolinguistic, hypnotic Jesus, heaven, hell built into the structure of our culture. So when people die and experience hell and say it's all BS, bad spirituality and bad science. I'll cut out the profanity. All right. So anyway, the church got rid of apokatastasis, and they said, well, it's cutting into our money, y'all. And it also makes us the big dogs spiritually instead of God. So if these Christians could be set on fire or fed to lions or have their children killed in front of them and be like, yep, go ahead, let's go. You should read about the greatest Sophia, like some of these great minds, even our great Hypatia, who was a Christian, even though the Christians killed her. She was a pagan priestess, but she was still a Christian as far as I'm concerned. She was a daughter of the Most High God. But anyway, the way these people died, and a lot of them died singing praises to God. Like, thank you, Lord, for taking me out of this barbaric shit world, right? But anyway, they were powerful people. And so the new church around the 6th century were like, you know how like everybody was getting fed to lions and set on fire and they were just still loving God and knowing that life is eternal? We can't have that, because if we have that, the church can't make money and we can't scare people into paying us. So we got to get rid of apokatastasis. We got to get rid of that. We got to get rid of that. And they did. So Christians talk about Jesus finished salvation, right? He did it. He died. He redeemed humanity with his blood, right? That offer is still universal, guys. Even atheists, agnostics, non-believers, stupid people, whatever. Eventually, everybody's going to see the truth, and not a church-made sky phantom, fairy ghost, Mephistophelian, menacing, miserly monkey master in the sky, but a real source of life. The real, unconditionally loving source of life. Our Father, which art in heaven, right? Everybody's going to see that. Everybody's going to come to terms with that. Jesus already completed salvation. It's available to everybody, everybody. Atheists won't see God in this life, but they will come to terms with God as they transition from this to the next time. And they're going to see a real, eternal one. Okay? All right. So, hello. Begging to say hello. Hello. All right. So keep that in mind. Everybody will get redeemed. This doesn't suit the ideology of churches. And this is the thing, is unfortunately churches don't understand the powerful financial incentive of apokatastasis. They don't get it. And I'm not going to explain it here because that's going to come into my money. No, I'll explain it here. If you can teach people how to experience salvation here and now, then you create an exceptionally wealthy, powerful, prosperous, beautiful, pleasant, pleasurable world. You create a world that works. A golden age recommences, and we start building cathedrals again. We had a miniature golden age during the Renaissance. That's when paganism and Christianity fused again, and we built all these amazing cathedrals around the world. Not all of them were built during that time period, but a lot of them were. Okay? So, yes, people are not going to be submitting to a god like a sky phantom fairy tale. When the veil lifts, even the blind, the atheists and the agnostics and the Satanists and all them, they will all see. They will all see that God is Lord, and they will proclaim that Jesus Christ is the interface, the connection to us and God. They will understand that, and that's between them and God. We don't have anything to do with that. All right? So bowing to God and kneeling to God is just a recognition of his supremacy, his power, his dominion over all reality. Everyone's going to do that. Everyone. What about the Muslims? Everybody. What about the atheists? Everybody. What about the Buddhists? Everybody. Because they're not going to say Jesus. They're going to feel the energy and the power of the interface that connects dead matter, which is reality, with living word, which is the eternal one, the Most High God. So here's a twist. Salvation isn't just about the afterlife. Christ already, fixed that. Okay, don't even worry about it. Salvation is actually about living well here and now, right here, right now. And I've been saying that since I was a little tiny child. Salvation is about here. Living the right life is about here. It's not, heaven's not off in the sky somewhere. It is here. Okay? Eternity is already settled. Like I said, Jesus already paid the price. Christians have to finally respect that. And Christians don't, unfortunately. Creation is finished. Reality is already taken care of. Real salvation is about your life here and now, access to God's power before death, not afterwards. So it means God's good, beautiful, peace, pleasure, joy, freedom, power here now. Having the relationship you want now, the health you want now, the body you want now, the lifestyle you want here and now. Because it makes no sense to have gold when you get beyond this. I've been beyond this enough times. And I died a couple times, but like I've been, and then I went to hell, and I was like, Jesus, I love you, Lord. I've died a lot of times, and you have too. You just don't remember. Um, but when think about what gold does for you outside into outer space, other than protect you maybe from the sun's rays or radiation or something. But outside of that, like, can you eat it? No. So all this stuff is stupid. And if you don't have a body, when you dream, think about when you dream. When you go into dream state, you're dead, basically. Okay. You can think and gold can appear. So what value does gold have to you? It's your relationship with God that matters. That's what really matters. That's what salvation is. So get to know God here and now. That's what ultimately matters. So the idea of apokatastasis was that, look, at some point, everybody is going to understand that God is everything. God is everything. God is everything. God is what we are searching for. When you want money and wealth and fame and power, and you get all that, which you're supposed to, get all that, get all the money, get all the lovers, get all the food, eat until you explode, like get everything you want, have all the pleasure, have all the everything you want. When you get to the end of that, you realize, okay, I've had all the money, I've had all the women, I've had all the men, I've had all the whatever, I've had all the houses, all the cars, all the prestige, all the people worshiping me, all the people hating me. I've had all that, and I really want my Father. I want God. That's what I want. That's what I'm seeking. We want a relationship with the source of life. Why do you think all these idiots are taking drugs and blasting their brains out into the middle of the universe? They're looking for God. So yes, there's hope after death. But the real question is, why wait? Have a good life here now. Experience salvation here now. That's the message the church needs to be preaching. Not this, where are you going to go after you die? Hey, brother, have you thought about where you might go after you die? No, I haven't, bitch. Like, leave me alone. Like, I'm trying to eat my ice cream right here. No, I haven't thought about that. No, and I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about how I'm gonna feed my kids. I'm thinking about how I'm gonna live a life that works for me. I'm thinking about how I can bring my dreams into this world. That's what I'm thinking about. Have you thought about where you're gonna go when you die, brother? That's not my problem, man. What are you, a Christian? Okay, didn't your Jesus fix all that? So why are you bothering me about it? You guys need to approach Christians like that so they can grow a pair or whatever and start to be legit. This whole uptick in Christianity we're seeing with the young people and the kids and all that stuff, it's great. I'm glad to see all the men come to church and all that. But are they coming there for the right reasons? Or is this another mass minion movement into mindless malarkey? I love alliteration, as you can tell. So yes, there's hope after death. Why wait? You can start awakening your true God experience here and now. You say, Lord, I'm sick and I need healing. And then you experience healing. What's a better testimony than that? Lord, I'm broke as a joke. And I would like to have more money than Satan himself. And then you, through passion and love and enthusiasm, find yourself in more wealth than you can count. And now you're giving it away to people who are worthy of it, meaning people who've demonstrated they're not going to create more havoc in the world with it. What's a better witness than that? Yeah, there's grace beyond death, but why gamble with awakening and living a good life now? Why gamble that away? You can live a good life now. I grew up Seventh-day Adventist and was one of the best Christian experiences of my life. It was the only Christian experience of my life for the first 21 years. But I learned that I was putting off my success, my prosperity, my joy, my sex life for an ideology that was separating me from God. I was going to go to heaven anyway. I didn't have to worry about that. What I needed to do was figure out how to build heaven for myself here and now. Because what a wonderful person I am when my needs are met, when I'm living with purpose, when I trust God to provide, because God has demonstrated that over and over again, and I've let God demonstrate that. You can cut off your blessings, and God will be like, okay, you can starve. God does it to everybody. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Galatians 6:7. Look it up. So we can have the best life here and now, but we have to let God do that for us. When I was growing up Seventh-day Adventist, I was waiting for my pie in the sky. I was waiting for my wife when I got to heaven. I thought I was going to die when I was 21 because the Sunday laws, and then they're going to, the blue laws, and they're going to get you. And they're going to stamp 666 on your head, and then they're going to get you. And then you're not going to go to heaven, and then they're going to get you. They're always going to get you. No, they're not. They don't have the power to. All right. So inner productivity, purpose, power, pleasure, purity, peace, prosperity, all that beautiful prosperity. You can have that now. And prosperity is a real thing. It's not a fake thing. It's not a bunch of money in your bank, because that's not prosperity if you can't breathe without a machine. That's not prosperity if you're lonely until you're 85. That's not prosperity. Prosperity is a holistic life that matches God's best for you. And I can tell you, there are lots of things I pray God, say, Lord, send this to me. I need this, Lord. Oh, I'm in love with her. Lord, make it work out. And God was like, no, you don't want that. You're asking me for A, but you're wanting me to give you C. I'm giving you A, okay? And thank God I was online enough that I received A, and A was much better for me. All right, so anyway, see clearly, live fully and clearly now. Thank you guys for watching. So like I said, I'm Dr. Merlin msai, or Dr. Merlin msai. People call me Merlin because I'm such a sorcerer. And in 2010, Sorcerer, I work with Source, the eternal source of all things. God shattered my false identity in 2010, and I woke the fuck up. That's why I wrote, hey, God, wake the fuck up. Did I plug my book yet? You see how this works? The Bible, most important technology on earth, the technology that helps you to understand it properly, is right here. Hey, God, wake the fuck up. Bible wisdom you're not supposed to know about real life and the real you. Listen, the Christian church does not want you reading that. You know, they wet their pants every night. They pray. You know that book scares the bejesus out of them? I know some very high level Christian folk that are like, I'm talking about very high, like Vatican high, that literally have defecated on themselves. Not literally, but figuratively have defecated all over themselves because of that book. Because they know that will destroy the church. And I'm not afraid because, oh, they're going to take me out. I don't care. You know how many times I've died? It's not even funny. And I've survived death. As they said in the school where I was initiated, they said, if you die before you die, you will not die when you die. If you know who said that, then you're part of us. You're part of the golden age. All right. So anyway, I wrote, hey, God, wake the fuck up, to help the chosen remember the link to God in a pure and natural way. This book exposes biblical insights that the church can't reveal. The Apex Christian journey is Apex Christianity. Is Christianity restored? Restored, restored. Is Christianity for the masters, not the masses? This is the Apex Human approach to Christianity, the most important technology in the world, which is the Bible. And I am excited that you're here. So, I know today's message probably stirred something in you that is very old and very deep. And that's because your soul remembers. There's a mission that you have to bring something beautiful into this world that the world has never seen. It's time that you do that. All right? So, if you're ready to wake up, you can get your copy of Hey God, Wake the Fuck Up. Link is in the description. And you can also read a portion of it for free online. And maybe just reading that portion will do something for you. Anyway, thank you for watching. Stay Apex.